First time on Tuesday of the 2020 PGA season. I'm declaring us live. PGA show from awesomeo.com. Sony Open edition. Myself, Ben Raza, here with Fantasy Golf Man. He's back. He's rested. He didn't have to do crazy things for the President's Cup or the TOC. So you're going to carry the show today. Welcome back, Tim.
I'm ready. I'm rested up. It's probably better that I wasn't, but we didn't do a show last week because I would have touted Keith Mitchell and JB Holmes, who were pretty much firmly in the basement for the entire tournament.
Mistakes were made. I needed Xander to not do things, such as life. But, that was a warm-up. That was 34 golfers. I know we had a lot of people playing golf for the first time. It was awesome to get some new faces in chat and whatnot. But you're going to see quickly, this is a lot different. We have a full field here. We're still in Hawaii. And I do want to say right off the top, sponsors of our show, Fantasy Draft, sticking with us in the new year, which we do appreciate. Over time, a DFS player, as I've said before, can lose up to 30% of their bankroll due to rake, but Fantasy Draft has fixed it. 100% of those entry fees are going out to the winners 100% of the time, and it adds up quickly. We all know that. If you haven't signed up, use the promo code AWESOMO, and you get a 7-day free trial over there. They have a really interesting golf format. It's 7 guys, top 6 get, so you can take some shots. We're going to be talking about that throughout the year, of course, but we're going to get into the wind because we were already laughing before the show. What a mess. But what do you do in an early season event like this? You haven't seen a lot of these guys for 3 months. I'm just going to ask you right off the top. Are you going to lean to guys who played last week?
I am going to lean a little bit on guys that played last week, but the problems we have are most of the good players in the field. So you don't have a lot of cheapies. I guess you have some cheapies that played last week. Regardless of even how they played, I guess just playing last week, I would consider that to be an advantage. Some of the issues are a completely different course. The conditions are going to be completely different. But yeah, playing last week was an advantage, kind of even if you didn't play well. I guess there's a couple guys who played really awful, just struck it really awful, that I might not want any part of it. But yeah, it's tough. We haven't seen these guys. It feels weird to say, oh, he was T10 and T8 his last 2 starts when those were, the RSM Classic and Mayakoba. Does that carry any weight anymore of 2 finishes that were, 6-8 weeks ago? I don't know. So yeah, it's really going to be a crapshoot this week. And then you add in 30 and 40 mile an hour winds on the first 2 days, and it's a bad week to play the chalk. It's probably a bad week to play the chalk anyway, ever in golf, but especially this week, bad week to play the chalk. And yeah, it's tough, but it's the first real event of the season. I like this event. I like this course, so I'm excited.
Yeah, we've got some positives. I will say though, in our defense of the event, we have some good things too. Wailea is where they've played this a ton here. We have some course history. We have some strokes gain data. We can rely on that. But like you said, yeah, it's hard to take swing season. And I did it too. You look at some of these swing season results and you can say, okay, a guy's trending upward. But man, that was a long time ago. And then you have the President's Cup, which is an awkward format. And then you have a 34-man non-cut. When you see a guy who came in 12th last week and you think, oh, not bad, just remember there was only 34 golfers. So let's not get too crazy. Chat, what's going on, everybody? Braden, first time playing PGA DFS. That is what I like to hear. Good to have you aboard, man. So before we dive into the golfers, Tim, this is a pretty straightforward course in my eyes. Do you want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, it's about a 7,000-yard par 70. Bermuda greens, obviously in Hawaii, coastal track, pretty open, exposed to the elements, and this is a place where the short hitters have had a lot of success. I would put it kind of course comps would be, Harbor Town, Honda Classic. There's a ton of overlap in winners and very high finishers at Honda Classic and here, and they're very similar tracks, but that's the kind of track we're looking at. So I think it favors the shorter hitters, but I guess we always have to have this caveat. The best players in the world can win anywhere, and we've seen Justin Thomas take this place apart. So yeah, the longer hitters can have success here as kind of the elite players, but as we get down toward the mid-range and towards the punts, I'm definitely leaning on the shorter, more accuracy type players, and especially with the wind, I think that's going to be more important, and around the green will become even more important this week. with the win. But, generally this has been a pretty easy course. These guys are kind of taking it apart. We've seen like 22 under, 27 under, gives up a lot of eagles for a par 70, even though there's only 2 par 5s. But again, I mean, if it's brutal conditions the first couple of days, it's going to play a lot different than we've seen in the last few years.
So that is one thing that I think you can build towards, even if it's on certain lineups, building to a different skill set than we've seen excel here. I think we have a pretty good idea that it's a second shot course. You don't need to be super aggressive off the tee, but maybe with these wins, that's something we can game plan. We're not going to get too crazy with that. Me and Jason Roslin tomorrow night, we'll have a better idea of what to do with the wind. But it is something to notice. Right off the top, I should have mentioned this. If you played last year, the cut rules are 65 now, so it's very difficult. That's something we're just going to have to continuously deal with. 6 is going to be low, but what can we do? And I agree. I think a general rule for me is course fit and stuff becomes more important when you go down the salary. Like Justin Thomas, he has obviously a profile of how he plays, but it doesn't really matter. It's not like he can't compete. Then you look at some guys where you're like, okay, they have a couple of courses that they really need to do damage at, and for the most part, their skill set's not going to translate elsewhere. So when we get to the cheapies, I'm going to certainly reference more about what I think correlates in terms of courses and what correlates in terms of skill sets.
And I think the results here have kind of shown that. You look last year, Kuchar, Putnam, Connors, Reavie, maybe besides Connors, those guys fit a certain type. 2018, Kazire, James Hahn, and Hoagie. I mean, Kazire's definitely a short hitter, not accurate off the tee, but approach game and short game can be his strengths. And then 2017, Justin Thomas, Justin Rose. Well, those are 2 of the best players in the world. Yeah, they're long hitters, but I mean, they're elite players. And then the year before that, Fabian Gomez, Brant Snedeker, and Zach Blair. I mean, 3 extremely short hitters. So it's kind of been short hitters or elite players like that. That's your 2 choices here.
I forgot Zach Blair. Zach Blair is like in the Tim Wilkinson category of like, it has to hit layup on par 4s. That's bad news bears.
Wearing out the hybrids.
Times are tough, but all right, let's get into it. JT leads us off. No surprise. He won in the playoff last week. This is a guy that takes apart, weak events. He just destroys fields like this. Then we've got Webb, Patrick Reed, Decky, Morikawa. I get it, but I really don't at the same time. First question, of course, is going to be, what do you want to do with JT? And then if you don't play him, who of the next batch do you like?
I love JT, and I always love him just for the reason because, I mean, he wins, obviously, a lot. He can just blow the doors off of fields, but it feels like even he's very consistent. And I feel like he's even more consistent than guys like Rory, guys like DJ, guys like Brooks. I mean, it just feels like a bad event from him is like a T17, a T15, which obviously isn't optimal for 12K, but it doesn't just completely bury you. I mean, it gives you a chance. He just doesn't miss a lot of cuts. He doesn't have a lot of poor performances. So, I mean, I love him. I love him this week. He's played, obviously, he was great last week. And I also just like, he's just the only elite player in the field. I mean, there's not a big decision to make on, do I like him or do I like Brooks or do I like him or DJ? I mean, it's pretty much he's in a field all by himself. So, yeah, I love JT. I guess my second option would be Webb. He just feels like a really safe option. It's a good course fit. But, I mean, it just feels like I don't know, a cash play. I still would prefer JT in cash, I guess. I don't know. I mean, Webb would be my second option, but I might just hit the lock button on JT.
Oh, see, this is what I promised people with my tweet. Lead pipe locks. I mean, if you're going to say that about JT, it's the safest guy you can say it with, of course. You're really just weighing the opportunity cost. He has by far the highest win equity. He is in a category of his own, in my opinion, as well. He's great. I think you're going to start there on a lot of teams. But if you don't, Patrick Reed, for me, I'm still going to just go back to him. I know he did it fluky putting. There's no other way to put it last week. Obviously, I don't love to see that, but with Reed, he's good enough in my mind that, honestly, I just trust the game. He comes ready to play. He doesn't mind the wind. He can grind if need be. So I think that's probably my next preferred option. But I wanted to specifically mention Morikawa. what do you make of him really being in this upper echelon now? Like, he's starting to separate just slightly from even like Im and Neiman and guys like that.
I think he's overpriced this week. When you just look at the quality of golfer that's around him, I mean, Decky for 200 more, I would prefer. Morikawa was really good last week. He was T7, but he gained 6.5 strokes with the ball striking. So one of the best off the tee and on approach in the field last week. So I like that, but just seems like the price jump is pretty significant. I don't think I can get there. I would prefer Decky. Reed is tough for me because you mentioned last week he did it all with the putter and a little bit of the short game, and that's not really what you want to see. But, he's a guy that's been known to do that. He's like a Snedeker type. He's not a ball striker. He has events where he just, kind of gets hot with the short game. But boy, 10-8 seems expensive. I mean, I know that everything could work well in the wind with the short game, but I mean, that's a pretty hefty price for a guy who really didn't strike it well last week. So that scares me.
That's the one thing, on these sites, whether it's Fantasy Draft or DraftKings, JT is so polarizing that they have to fill in. They can't have like JT at 12K or 18,000 and then no one within that, you know what I mean? They need to fill in with guys like Webb, guys like Reed. If there were more players in that top tier, we would see guys like Webb and Reed bounce down, whereas JT very well could be pretty similar to where he is. So I do agree with that. It's going to make other guys feel certainly overpriced. For me, Morikawa, just not going to get there. I know he's a great ball striker. I want to see what happens if this is really windy. His short game is not great. It's a limited sample size. He really leans on the irons. I want to see what happens, though, if, GIRs are down across the board here. There's so many other guys, particularly as we work down a little bit. Sungjae Im is just so well-rounded. I don't worry about him regardless of the weather.
Yeah, I'm with you. And has he played it all on like the Asian, any other events besides? I don't have any results besides PGA Tour events. That would be the only thing. And this is the same thing with a lot of guys is, we don't have much from him since the fall swing, and it's hard to know what to expect from him. I know some guys have teed it up in some oddball events. I don't have that data in front of me. I like him, but boy, 9,600. I don't know. If I'm playing JT, I don't know. I don't think Im would be my second guy in.
So that's perfect segue. Fair enough. And Im played certainly in the President's Cup. I don't know if he stuck around and went to Australia or played in Japan or anything like that. So who would be your second man in? Because a lot of people in single entry, in 3 max, even in large field GPPs are going to click in JT and work down with the other 5. Is it Neiman? Is it Leishman? Or is it someone even lower than that?
Leishman, I think, is really interesting. I don't think a lot of people will go there, but I like him. I like him in tough conditions, and he has a good record here. He has a T9, he has a T5. He was 3rd here last year. Kind of inconsistent, but, he has that upside, and in tough conditions, I really like him at 9,200. Going down from there, I just can't pay $9K for Answer, even though he's playing great and he was awesome at the President's Cup. I don't know. That's a little hefty for me. I don't know. Noren and Kisner, I feel like those two guys set up well.
From the clouds. I did not think you were going to mention his name.
I don't know. I just feel like in bad conditions, I don't know why I have this thing with Noren. Like it's going to click for him in really tough conditions. I don't know. Him and Kisner, I think set up well. You don't agree?
So Kisner's a guy I definitely have interest in. I've tried to buy here and there on him, but I will say he can get crazy hot with the putter. This is a great course for him. I don't know how you would push back on that, regardless of what you think about him in the play. He was pretty standard last week, didn't make a lot of noise, wasn't horrible. I don't take much into that, but it's good enough for me. And, you just look at some of the events that he's competed in. He was runner-up at Heritage. He was runner-up at the Players, RSM multiple times. I know that's Sea Island Mafia stuff, but still, these are the type of tracks that he should excel at. But I want to go down one more. Do you feel the same way about Sneds? You're a Sneds guy. You always say, because he can win. He's a winner.
He can win, but I don't know. He's just hasn't been good.
No, he hasn't.
I mean, I know it's almost like one of those things where maybe the break helps him because we haven't seen him in a while. But he just wasn't really good in the fall series. Didn't miss cuts, but the ball striking was really bad. And we don't know him as a ball striker, but I don't know. I think there's other guys. I would play Kisner definitely over Snedeker. I just feel like you said, that the course fit couldn't be any better for Kisner. You listed all the places where he's played well, and this event or this course kind of fits right in with there with all those other events, Heritage and Herbert or RSM and Players, like Colonial. So yeah, I would prefer Kisner. Snedeker, I don't know. He would be like a MME sprinkle for me because you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, I think he's a great tournament play because this is just a guy that he's never going to stand out ball striking because he doesn't do it like that. He can get crazy hot with the putter. If it's like, again, and I think this is an if statement, of course, say it's ridiculous wind. Sneds is way to the top. That's a huge boost to him. He doesn't care about that. That helps him immensely. I do worry, some of the courses, like take Farmers, for example, like it demands more off the tee, even though he's not a great driver of the ball. Sneds is more in those, and this isn't that. So I have some reservations, but if you're telling me I get him at very low ownership, I will take some exposure to him and roll the dice with the guy that time and time again, he seems to not have his best stuff and still wins pretty often year after year.
Yeah, I don't think people will be playing him this week.
No. What about Corey Connors? You didn't even mention him. No dice?
No, the ball striking just wasn't there last week. And if he's not going to strike it, like he needs to gain like 10 strokes with the ball striking to really do any damage. And last week, I believe it was right around even, which for him isn't that good. So no, I don't think I'm going to Connors. Plus, I think he'll be popular.
He gained a little with the irons, but that was about it. It wasn't good.
It's a new year. I'm getting off of this, just like going down with Corey Connors and Grillo every single week. I'm not doing it.
Okay.
Anymore.
We'll see how long that sticks.
I'm telling you, will not play Grillo this week.
We're gonna get there. Before we do, we've got guys like Cameron Smith, Ches, Brendan Todd. Then we've got someone I definitely want to talk about, Brian Harmon, JT Poston. What do you make of the lower 8K range?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to steal your thunder, but yeah, I'm definitely in on Harmon.
Yeah, he made the article this week, which is a free. So go check it out. So usually behind the paywall, but it is posted. I have a betting preview and my DFS picks. So Chad, if you haven't read that, go give it a work. Brian Harmon is in there. Tim, I really just, this sets up perfectly for him. He's had boom and bust results through the swing season, but man, this is a guy that can get crazy hot, not demanding off the tee, can lean on the irons, can get hot with the putter, good Bermuda splits, good wind splits. I mean, what more could you really ask for?
Yeah, I mean, top 20 here in 4 of his last 5 starts, top 20 in 4 of his 6 starts in the fall swing. The ball striking was great. He gained like 0.9 with the ball striking, and that was over 17 measured rounds. So, a pretty decent sample size for, the amount of events that they played. And I'm with you. A guy that can win, it's like, I love it. I think 8,200 is a good price. I don't know. I don't think a ton of people will be on him.
It's hard, and we'll see what ownership that'll come out, and we'll monitor. I don't like to predict that stuff on Tuesday because I'm not good at it. So what do I know?
People are going to play Poston, and he's been really good, but a little deceiving last week. T11, like you said, that looks good on paper, but really in a 34-man field wasn't that great, and the ball striking also wasn't that great. I think a lot of people will click Poston.
Do you think a lot of people will click Brian Stewart?
No.
No?
Wait, why would well, God, that's good course history, though. Right when I was about to say, why would anybody play Brian Stewart?
So Brian Stewart has an 8th, a 4th, a 6th, and a 5th over the last 6 years. He's a huge Bermuda split guy, and he's coming off a 10th at RSM and a 23rd at OHL. He was 4th at Shriners. I don't like him. I want to be clear right now. I don't see it, but I do think he could be sneaky popular.
You know what? I think like he like literally, I didn't even see that. Sometimes I put together all this stuff and I miss half of what I'm like putting together.
Story of my life.
It's like I'm compiling all this crap and I don't even look at half of it. My counter argument for Stewart would be A, let's not be course history donkeys, and B, let's just pray to God that he turned into old Brian Stewart during the 6 weeks off from the fall swing. But yeah, it kind of looks good if you're just looking at his last couple starts in this course history. But I don't think I'm going to get there.
Kelly Craft Fish Play of the Year. I'm telling you, man.
That might be it. It's going to be hard to find one of those because we're kind of out of rhythm, with seeing a lot of these guys. But yeah, on paper it looks good, but I wouldn't go there.
No, I'm not really there. He's not a good win player either. And listen, this is a guy, he can get crazy hot putting the ball, but I would back multiple other guys in the same range, including Harman, including Poston, including Russell Knox. If I had to go there, we've got Aaron Wise. This range is loaded. This is my favorite range of the entire slate. Talk to me, go to Grillo, talk to about whoever you want in this mid.
I don't want to hear about Grillo. Don't even say his name.
You're gonna hear him.
Yeah, Knox. I mean, literally the same things you could say about Kisner or almost apply directly to Russell Knox. They both play great at all of the same courses. Knox started off kind of poor course history. That was one of those guys where it kind of just didn't make sense. And then he ended up at 13th, 11th, 10th, seemed to kind of figure it out, or things kind of came around for him. I love him here. He was, decent in the fall, not great, but yeah, I like him. Boy, Fratelli, he hurt me last week. He was not good.
He killed me. I had some okay lineups, and Fratelli was the missing piece. He lost, and this is not to back out of a play, but I'll say this: it comes with the Fratelli territory. He can get crazy hot. He can lose it. He can have mix and match. There is no rhyme or reason to his game, and we saw the worst version of it last week.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if this is a bounce back spot for him. You're the Fratelli whisperer, though.
I am.
I would defer to you on whether we're bouncing back to or with Fratelli.
I'll let ownership dictate it because I don't worry at all about. I actually think it possibly for the ownership discount a good thing that he played so bad. Like, what's the difference between that and coming in 16th? Like, not much in my mind. I mean, I don't love to see he lost in every category. That's not good, but he's in a range with Griot, who people will play, me included. I'm going to play him. I know you're not. Enough said. We don't need to go there. Best ball striker, worst putter. But you have so many other guys. I mean, is someone like Carlos Ortiz on your radar at all? Sabatini is there. Lanto? I mean,
Lanto was actually pretty good last week, and I don't like him. But the ball striking was good. I mean, he finished T13. I know we don't normally consider him like the next coming of Adam Scott with the driver and the irons, but he was decent. I don't know. Ryan Palmer in the win, Texas guy. I don't know. I don't want to play too many of these win narratives. I feel like you can talk yourself into so many, like, went to college at Oklahoma State, so he must be a good win player type of thing. But
yeah, it's my whole thing on that is two things. My whole thing, and then I say two things. One, you can build lineups that plan for wind, and maybe you bump it. And two, if you have two guys and you have them even, and one is horrible in the wind, one excels in the wind, maybe you do a coin toss like that. But to overhaul your whole portfolio based on wind splits is crazy. Vaughn Taylor is right there. He was on fire to close out the swing season. Second at OHL, 10th at RSM. We know what he's about. Low variance, kind of does his thing. Good Bermuda guy. Any interest, or is he more like a cash play in your mind?
No, I like Vaughn Taylor. I like the course fit. He's one of the guys where it's like, I feel like this is a good course for him, but he has awful course history, which I will just throw out. I mean, I think it helps with the ownership. I think it helps with the price. Has not played well here, but I can't figure out why. So it seems like a good fit. And yeah, his game seems good, and he was really good at the end of the fall series or fall swing. Hopefully he can carry that over. But yeah, at 7,400, I like him. I like Brian Gay. I think he's a guy who the course fits him. Obviously, super short hitter, can get really hot with the putter, and then if the wind gets up, I think that's an advantage for him. More leaning on the short game. So he's a guy I think in either scenario, I think in fine conditions he would be an okay play, and I think in tougher conditions I would say he's even a better play. And 7,200, decent price. Just really like the course fit for him.
Fair enough. I mean,
No,
this is
you hate it. Just say you hate it. It's fine.
No. I was chat was talking about why in Oklahoma are they like, did they play in tornadoes? Which I think that's kind of what we were trying to say.
I just made something up. I don't know.
Yes. Who were you just mentioning?
Brian Gay.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I caught the tail end of that. Yeah, no, you're right. I don't really see it. I'm not gonna lie. He is truly a great putter, and he does have Bermuda splits. But man, I really don't know what to make of it because, not ironically, his two really good swing season starts were in events where we don't have strokes gain data. Like, I don't know if you noticed that. He got cut at RSM. I can see that. He was bad in Houston. I can see that. He was great at Bermuda, and he was great at OHL. I can't tell exactly how he did that.
I'll fill in the blanks for you. -2 off the tee, +4 on approach, +4 around the green, and +10 putting or something like that. I don't know. That's like a typical Brian Gay stat line.
All right. So
that would probably have won the tournament by like 8 shots or something. But
you, right off the bat, because I know you were a little rusty, you said something and now you can't take it back, and it solidifies probably my worst take of the day. And you were right. You were saying this course is like Honda. Correlates a lot to Honda.
Henley.
Daniel, even worse than that. We're going to get to Henley. Daniel Berger. Double winner at St. Jude, lost in a playoff at Honda a couple years ago. He's coming back. I think he's fully healthy. His swing season was just really middling. Made a bunch of cuts, but he had nothing better than a 17th at the Zoizo. I'm going to buy here. I really do like the spot. I actually don't mind betting him at 100-1 to win. This is where we're getting real egregious, but any Berger interest, or is that just an easy pass?
I don't know. I just feel like it's been the same story where we've just felt like we're like, oh yeah, it might be Daniel Berger's season because we're inching closer, and I felt like we inched closer for 6 months and nothing ever really materialized. But I get the course comp. I mean, I don't think there's a stronger course comp than Honda in here that you'll see.
It's real.
Guys have played well at the Honda. I definitely think that kind of bodes well for playing well here. And like you mentioned, he 2 wins at St. Jude, which is another par 70, short Bermuda. I feel you on all that, but I just felt like we spun our wheels with Berger for like a long time, and he never did anything.
Oh, no doubt. That's the one killer, and it's been similar with Griot, to be honest. It's not even that they've been getting cut. They've been doing nothing. Like, when you get them right, they come in 42nd, and when you get them wrong, they come in 52nd. It's just garbage right now. You can justify this any way you want. Start of the year, this price tag, I'm willing to buy a little bit. As we work down, I mean, we still have plenty of golfers to go, but this field starts to thin out pretty quickly.
Did you know that Shugo Imahira is like the number 35 ranked golfer in the world? I was like,
so often. You remember Yuta Akita?
Yeah,
he was in there for a while, and then I don't know. What do you do with something like that?
Nothing. I don't play him. That's what I do.
Disregard it. Fair enough. That is one of the options. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to play a guy who. I mean, it's so hard because you look at his results; they're all like missed cuts, but they're all majors basically.
And then he goes on the Asian tour and just literally doesn't finish worse than third ever.
Yeah, blowtorch, just inferno, taking out Bio Kim and the gang. Yeah, I'm not there. There's just too many other guys. I'd rather play Keegan if I had to. But yeah, I know that's a bad look. I will say we're about to get to Russell Henley, but if you've stuck with us this long, I'm going to let you people in chat in on the goods. We have 3 different promo codes going on right now. They are all good. They're all just starting, but they're also ending in only a couple days. The first one, PGA 2020, all one word. It's a weekly golf pass. So you get this week, you get the ownership projections, the stack tools, all that. It's $1. PGA 2020. So if you want to check out the golf and you've never signed up, come on in and try it out for a week. If you want more, just just type in 2020 and you get 20 days of Awesemo Plus Platinum for just $20. So that's the full, you get everything, NBA, NFL, all that stuff, golf, projections, ownership, rankings, lineup builder, and it's for the next 20 days for $20. If you use the promo code New Year, all one word, you get 20% off the Awesemo Plus Platinum Yearly Pass. That's $200 off. You're going to get all the sports. You get in there, you're good for the year, and you save a bunch of money right up front. So we got PGA 2020, just 2020, and then New Year. You got 3 options. They're all good. Get in here one way or another. Me and Tim expect.
Yeah. And I'll sweeten the deal. With any of those promo deals, promo codes, I'll throw in a 90-second private coaching session on how to pick 500-1 winners on the PGA Tour.
So now that Tim said that, if the site goes down due to traffic issues, just remember that I didn't know he was going to say that.
I was feeling generous,
Right. It's 2020. Can't hold anything back now. All right. Russell Henley. Talk about prolonged bad. He can't. I will say this in my defense. I got him right at John Deere. How that happened, we'll never know. But other than that, he has been absolutely abysmal. Now, this in theory is a perfect course. You know how much he loves, Bermuda. He's won Honda and this place. So, I mean, there you go. Are you going to go there, or are you just going to let the results turn before you buy back in?
Yeah, I'm going to let the results turn. I'm like, some of these guys, I just felt like at the end of the year, I was so pot committed on, I just had to keep playing. And that's a terrible thing to do. I'm just hitting the reset button on a lot of these guys where it's just like, he's going to have to show me something. I agree with you. Obviously the course fit. He's a past winner here. Like you said, past winner in Honda, couldn't be better. But yeah, that's it. I mean, that and the fact that he's a 3-time winner on tour and you're hoping to catch lightning in a bottle, but that's tough. I would like Piercy in good conditions. I don't know if I like Piercy so much in a monsoon, but he's kind of a boomer bust guy that stuck out to me at 7,100. So same price as Henley. Wasn't playing great, but played better than Henley, I would say, in the fall series. And Ryan Armour, I don't know. I like him at 7K. He's
really.
I know. It's like I'm gonna make the worst teams here. It's gonna be like Ryan Armour, Brian Gay, these guys that can't. Vaughn Taylor. It's like I should not play JT. I should definitely play like Webb with those guys.
The triple condom stack, as you
it's just like so many condoms. We're just gonna try and ship like the quarter arcade with 6 guys that all finish like T33 or something.
It certainly doesn't fit that mold. Kyle Stanley, the results weren't there, but his irons were cooking during swing season. And if he fixed that, I mean, long term, that's what was holding him back. He obviously long term was a very solid player. Then he went on a rough stretch. He gained significantly at Safeway, Shriners, Houston, and RSM. The results didn't really go, but if he keeps doing that, they will turn. Any interest in that on a guy that I think is better than this type of price tag?
Yeah, I do like Stanley. With him, there seems to be more indicators of good things to come than with a guy like Henley, who we're just kind of hoping, or like, there's some real, positive signs with Stanley. And yeah, 7K is a real good price. I like him. I'm surprised. You have to tout Bud Colley.
Oh, I'm getting there.
Okay.
I have it up on the screen. Don't worry.
All right. I was going to say, like, we can't just skip over him.
Oh, we're not. I wanted to actually ask you, though, before. Oh, no, I'll do Bud Colley first, because this bozo's behind him, as he should be. But yeah, Bud Colley is certainly a long-term buy. It's becoming a very long-term buy at this point. Bermuda would be the preferred surface. He showed some life during swing season, culminating with the 9th at Houston, 14th at Greenbrier. He did a lot of good things, but this is a guy, the course sets up fine for him. He can get hot with the putter. He's cheap. Take it away.
And you're going to be chasing Bud Colley on like the Champions Tour. It's going to be like
possibly
like he's like 51 and you're going to be betting him at like 4-1 at the Mitsubishi Classic or
He's
whatever.
got a lot of good showings at Heritage. This is a good course for him. And I actually like, Tim, you talked about this a lot. You look at his Sony results, most of them are from several years ago, and nothing stands out. He's got some missed cuts and he made a cut. I actually like that because if he had Brian Stewart like course history, you'd be saying this guy's going to be chalk. And I think honestly, I don't see a huge difference of why he wouldn't like this course. It sets up great for him. He's sub 7K, and I think it's a very good spot.
I mean,
come on, Bud. Buy on Bud.
I don't know. I just never. I mean, I like him. I'm with you, but he's one of those guys where it was like I treated him like a long-term buy for so long, and we just never got there, and I had to cut the cord.
Yeah. So the thing I don't mind about him is I wasn't getting punished by Bud Collett. Like if he gives me another swing season result, 22nd, 34th, 18th, it's fine. He wasn't missing cuts like Henley or Stanley or where it's like, God, this is getting painful. I didn't cash in the chips in terms of hitting, the full Monty, but I didn't get killed either. And I can continuously buy on a guy like that. He made enough cuts, especially during swing season, for me to be at least interested at this type of price tag.
All right. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we can trust you with him, though. It's kind of like one of those things where
there is that.
Yeah.
What I wanted to ask you, though, and there's no denying that Honda correlates, but what do you make of Keith Mitchell being the defending champ at Honda?
Yeah, it's intriguing to me. He was really bad last week, which we touched on at the top.
Horrible.
This is tough. And I hate to keep saying like the win, but he's just doesn't seem like a guy that I want to play in really tough conditions. And I know Honda, that's a tough course. And I think the winning score was somewhere around 10 under. So it played pretty tough. And I would like him here. I would kind of throw out what happened last week. I don't care. He's more of a boomer bust guy. But boy, it seems real dicey if we're going to get super tough conditions. I don't know if that's a guy that I want to go to. But you make a great point, and I don't think people will play him. I don't think they'll think it's a good course fit for him. But we've seen the longer guys can do fine here, and Honda is not a long hitters course. Honda is really a very similar course to this, as we've mentioned. So we've seen him get it done at a place like this. Good Bermuda putter. But boy, it does scare me playing him in heavy winds.
Same. I'm very concerned, but believe me, I remember that week vividly. I was not on him at Honda. I did not think that set up at all.
Yeah, I thought it was awful. I was like, he'd be one of the first guys I X'd off.
Yep. So, maybe there is something to it, a la Luke List, where it actually helps them. They can club down, they mitigate their spraying, and they can, get it done. But I'm not sure I'm really there. Honestly, I'd rather bump down just a little bit. Well, talk to me about Graham McDowell. Do you really have interest in that, or are you just with?
Yes. See, that's the beauty of my Twitter account. It's like, no, you can't even tell if I'm joking or
not. No, and if he wins, of course you were very serious.
No, I'm dead serious. So, I mean, the guy, like you talk about, Kisner has like a certain type. I mean, McDowell's PGA Tour wins were Harbor Town, Mayakoba, Punta Cana, which was a terrible event, but the same type of coastal course, and the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach. It's like, you can't really get four more similar tracks than that. And he's a guy that I think in really tough, windy conditions will excel. He played last week, and the approach game was really good. I think he was second or third in the field in approach. The T23 really not going to draw a lot of eyeballs, but the approach game was good, and he was pretty good in the fall series. And I think, this track is good for him. If it's windy, I think that helps him. If it's not windy, I think he's still fine. He's 150 to 1. I think he's a great bet. I do like McDowell. I kind of say things tongue in cheek on Twitter, just to get more likes and retweets. But I really like him. I think everything sets up regardless of the conditions, and the worse conditions, the better for him, in my opinion.
Oh, no doubt about that. So I'll give you this. When I was building lineups, when you only have 34 guys, you can really dig in. I was stunned that Graham McDowell, I'll put it like this. His swing season, I expected to see like Martin Trainer-esque, where he's just been playing terrible. He was solid, and he didn't garner any interest. And actually got me on a little of him. Not that he did anything of value, but I was kind of with you. Now, he lost 5 strokes off the tee. You can't do that here. That's going to be really dangerous if he does that. If it's calm for some reason and the winning score is 25 under, I don't think that's Taylor. Certainly not what I'd prefer to see with Graham McDowell. But at this price, if he makes the cut, I almost knocked everything over here. I'm getting too excited with Graham McDowell.
Bang on the table.
Yeah. I don't mind it. I will say there's a couple guys we're about to get to I have ahead of him, but he could make my player pool and be a guy to anchor some of those win type lineups.
Yeah, and I mean, I know we don't want to get into definites with the win, but the forecast hasn't changed much in like 6 days. So
it's got to be windy in some capacity. Like, I don't know how it could not be.
Yeah, but like 6 days ago, it was supposed to be awful conditions, and it still looks that way, at least for the first 2 days. So,
all right. Now, this is where it gets serious. We got 2, and I'm not even going to bring up Tyler Duncan. Do you have any interest in Chris Kirk? Let's start there.
Yeah, I do. I mean, the price is right. Obviously, it's 6,700. He's a guy. In what did he play? 2 events in the fall swing?
Yep.
And
OHL and RSM.
Yeah, 1 decent, 1 miscut, kind of knocked the rust off. But yeah, he's a guy that you could easily see at 8,700 in this event, and he didn't even play that poorly. When he came back, it wasn't like he came back and was a total disaster. Good course fit for him. He's a Bermuda guy. Good course history here. So yeah, I mean, I think you're taking on a little bit of risk. I don't think he's the safest play down here, but he's got some upside and the price is right. And you're getting a good, much better caliber of golfer for 6,700 than Henrik Norlander or DJ Trahan or, any of these other bums that are down
here. DJ Trahan, no. But. You know who's coming, don't you?
Harry Higgs?
That's right.
Harry Higgs. Yeah, you love Harry Higgs.
I love Harry Higgs. And what I love about Harry Higgs is he's boom or bust. He can gain off the tee. And so far in his limited sample size, to me, he played 1 course that specifically is tailored to this. It was Bermuda, of all places. Now, the field was horrible. Let's get that out there. This is a stronger field than that. But he came in second. I'm not looking for him to come in second here. I'm just looking for him to make the cut. So Harry Higgs is the Corn Ferry guy that I am targeting. I like him quite a bit. Now, there's a guy right next to him that I've seen thrown around a little bit, and it's Henrik Norlander, who was coming off a 5th at RSM. He's been striking it really well. He was good in the swing season. Now he comes to Sony, which is an event that, he was 20th in his last appearance a couple years ago. Any interest in the suite, or is that way too far off your radar?
No, I'm not getting there. I think Norlander I think there's like 50 people that live at Sea Island. I think he's one of them. So I'm attributing that to the reason why he finished so good there. But no, I mean, he's another guy. It's like how we've seen him for 3-4 years. What have we ever really gotten out of him? Barely anything except 2 good finishes at the RSM. No, I think there's a lot better options down here. Are you going there? What do you think?
No, not really. Just because I really like Higgs, and we have Kirk, who I like, and then working down. I mean, I'm not even saying I'll pass these to you, but like there are names. You've got Charlie Hoffman down here. You've got Nick Taylor. List is down there. Streb, Shelton, Sam Burns, your boy Doc Redman. I mean, do you like any of these guys? Are you going to none of them? What do you do at the bottom?
Yeah, List was intriguing to me just because the price was so good. And he wasn't awful in the fall swing. The ball striking was good, like it always is, but I think he's just a really good boom or bust option at 6,600. Obviously not a very safe play. But, I mean, what was he in a playoff at Honda? He was right there with not 2 years ago at Honda.
Who, List?
List, yeah.
He was
him. It was him, Noren, and one other guy coming
I
up.
think it was Tommy Fleetwood.
I don't know.
No, well, it couldn't have been because none of them won. So that is wrong.
JT. I wonder if JT won that year.
Hold on, JT won. Okay.
Yeah, I just remember him, Noren, and
was fourth. Okay.
Yeah. Oh wow. Jeez, look at that. We put it all together.
Yep.
But again, he's another guy like Piercy, who it's like, oh, and Mitchell, it's under calm conditions. I would say, yeah, I like this price for him. Not the best setup, but he's a boomer bust guy. He's really cheap. But he's another guy in 30-mile-an-hour winds. Not sure I'm going to go there, but yeah, I mean, really cheap and a lot of upside for 6,600. And I just think, he wasn't good last year, but I think he's a better golfer than that. I think he bounces back at some point.
It does feel like a little a buy low spot with a couple of guys down here. And he is one of them. Chad has mentioned Hudson Swafford. He is just playing so bad that I can't get there.
Did he get hurt or something? Because he didn't play for a long time. And then he kind of came back but he's got good consistency. What's that?
He took 5 months off.
Yeah, he had to have been hurt. I mean, I think people are probably just looking at that course history, and that's probably sticking out. But I mean, no, he hasn't been good. And I definitely, I'm not a big course history guy, and really, when that's kind of the only reason to play him, I wouldn't go there.
All right, so we got a couple things here, all of equal importance. First, we got Tim Hoffman in chat. First time last week playing DFS golf, really liked it. That's what I'm talking about. Keep it going. Next,
it'll change. You'll start to hate it soon, Tim. But
if you keep watching the show, it's very possible. But you know what? We like it. Next, no matter how we've done a lot of shows together, not once have we ever thought of bringing up Troy Merritt, and not once has chat never not mentioned him. 6,500 Troy Merritt, and then he always is playing well. He's not on my radar. He is a very good Bermuda player. He's made a bunch of cuts in a row, but he never really hangs around for 72 holes. Is he towards the back burner? Probably doesn't make the cut for you.
Yeah, he was totally like off the burners. Like we just put him in the fridge or whatever.
Duffner's down here. My God.
God, Duffner. I know, man. That guy. No, I don't think I can get to Merritt. Like you said, it's like he just makes cuts, but nothing exciting. Has a god awful course history here, which I don't really care too much about. But God, remember the last time we saw Chesson Hadley in like 40-mile-an-hour winds? Didn't he shoot like 90 something? I feel like that was the thing.
Chesson Hadley and scrambling, they really don't go together. I'm not going to chase that. I will say, so the floor is yours. Is there anyone really, now we're in the basement. We got about 10 minutes left here. James Hahn, JT Spawn is down. JT Spawn, that's a made up person. JJ Spawn, Cam Davis, my boy. What do you make of, if you jam JT and say you go like JT Decky, you're going to need someone from down here. Is there anyone that you could take a shot with sub 6,500?
I think there are a lot of guys you can take a shot with because it's really a lot of unknowns this week, and I'm not trying to, be like that. So Jim Herman is 6,200. I don't love him. I've never played him, but he was okay last week with the ball striking, and like you said, just having played is a plus for me. He was T27, so very very close to the bottom, but was positive with the ball striking. So yeah, that's just something. Boy, Matt Every at 6,300. You want to talk about just boom or bust?
YOLO.
Well, the approach game has been was on fire in the fall series. Not a lot of rounds, but great approach game, great Bermuda putter. But boy, he's like a scary guy to roster. But I don't know. What do you think? Obviously, I don't have a lot of conviction over anybody.
You're not going to.
Nadal's winning, so it's like we really don't need to do too much else.
So there's a couple things. One, you don't have to go down here if you don't want to. Two, this is the one positive. The difference between these guys and the guys at like 7K, I don't think is a huge difference. It's just about trying to find the right one. There's about 10 of them, and that's where it gets problematic. One name, this is a guy that obviously it's a different situation, but Graham DeLette is basically the min. Now we know he came off major injury. He got 4 tournaments in during the swing season. He was bad in all 4. He did find the weekend in 2 of them though. If you do think that knocked off the rust and he starts fresh here, that could be a spot you could go to. other than that, I mean, you got like Andrew Landry, Peter Malnati. I don't know if I can go to these guys, to be honest. There's just
Remember
so
when
many
Sepp
studs.
Straka was a thing, when we were jamming Sepp Straka in every week, and then he's missed like 18 cuts in a row now.
Yeah, him and Tom Ace Ventura over here. Remember when he was a thing for about 5 minutes and he like triple bogeyed his first hole on that one weekend?
Yeah, he was a
Irrelevant.
thing. Yeah, I remember I touted him in his first PGA Tour event, and he lost like 6 strokes off the tee in like the first like 3 holes he's played as a professional on the PGA Tour.
So James Hahn, I think, is going to garner interest relative to his price because he's coming off a runner-up here in 2018. He's made 6 straight cuts. Then he missed it last year. But that string of made cuts here, I think, will garner interest just because he has so much course history.
James Hahn is like one of my favorite golfers just for the fact that he won basically 2 events like out of nowhere. I just find that so intriguing. And I mean, I don't know. He's played on tour for quite a while now, so it's like that had a little more cachet a couple years ago, and it was like he didn't have a ton of starts under his belt. But I don't know. I don't love I know he was second here, but I don't love the course fit for him. But he is one of my favorite guys. It's like all of a sudden the dude just jumped up and won Riviera, and then was awful, and then jumped up and won like Wells Fargo or something out of nowhere.
So, not that we need to go down this wormhole, but I will victory lap that. My first big win in golf was when James Hahn won Wells Fargo. He was zero. I'm not exaggerating. He was 0% owned in the high stakes tournament, and I had Roberto Castro who stormed. And it just shows. I mean, you never get that. James Hahn won. Him and Michael Kim, talk about out of nowhere wins. Those are towards the top of the list. So I kind of owe him for that because no one got those first place placement points.
Well,
Last
I think he missed like 10 cuts in a row coming into that. It was something like incredible how many cuts in a row he
was
missed.
like moving away from golf. Last guy we got is Roger Sloan from chat. He's another one. Again, listen, these guys can make birdies. There's no doubt about it. But you're talking about massive miscut equity. You're going to have to roll the dice if you go down here with anyone. But to me, he doesn't stand out in any conceivable way over guys like Lahiri, like Tyler McCumber, Mac Hughes. It's just kind of formulating them based on the team around them.
Yeah, I mean, he was a guy who people played him on and off, I think, in the fall swing. He had some, decent ball striking numbers and okay results towards the end of last year. But I'm with you, just not. I mean, we don't have a lot to go off this week when there's basically the first event of the year. And yeah, you're just kind of throwing a dart at Sloan, like you said. I don't see a lot of reasons to play him. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Again, I'm not going to fault anyone for going down here. It's just you're incurring a lot of risk. So that's something me and Jason Roslin will talk about tomorrow night on the lineup construction show. We'll see how I have not built, of course. I don't know how long, if I'll have to funnel to the low 6s. I hope to end around Harry Higgs, Chris Kirk if I can. If not, I'll have to reevaluate, and maybe I will open it up to these type of guys. We got a couple minutes left. 2 questions. One, who is Alexander Beach? That's a made-up person, right? You ever hear of that person?
If I think I looked it up. I think that was a guy who's like a PGA professional because I think he's a nobody.
Pelt is here.
What's that?
Bo Van Pelt is here.
Alexander Beach. Yeah, he's played 2 events, and they were both the PGA championships. So I'm guessing he's a club pro somewhere. Maybe I'm guessing that would probably be in Hawaii somewhere. That would make the most sense because he has played here before. So yeah, he's a nobody. Okay. Don't play him.
No, don't play him or Bo Van Pelt. Don't go that low. There's guys, as we talked about, a couple $100 more. Did you put in any bets?
Yes, I did. I bet McDowell 150 to 1. And I also bet Harmon at 50 to 1.
He's dead, man. I bet Harmon too. Made the article this morning.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. We kind of already laid out everything. With Harmon, I'm making more of a concerted effort to not just throw indiscriminate long shot darts at guys that really have no chance, like Boo Weekley. Thank God Boo Weekley's not in this field because I'd probably be like tripling down on him this week. But yeah, I mean, Harmon, he's a guy that can win. I think it's a good number at 50 to 1. You know, course fit, the ball striking, the form, everything kind of lines up. I was looking at Kisner as well. He was 50 to 1, and then he went down to 40, so I did not bet him. So yeah, right now Harmon 50 to 1, McDowell 150 to 1, and let the wind blow.
Yeah. Yeah, Kisner was a guy I looked at. I missed it. Pat Mayo drove him down. He really likes him. I bet Berger at 100 to 1. I'm taking a stab. I know that's probably burning money, but listen, outrights, you're looking for lightning in a bottle once a year. Head-to-heads, which I did bet one. It's in the article, which is free. Go check that out. One I actually really like, but we'll get that. I mean, listen, it's the first week. I'm super pumped that we have a lot of new people in chat. We've got a lot of new people around DFS golf. This is going to be tough. 6 of 6 is going to be, just remember, if you make 20 lineups and you have 2 6 of 6s, that's 10%. You're going to be over the field. I know that's going to feel like I have 18 dead lineups. That's a good thing. You will be
especially
excited.
This week. We could see a 100%. Astronomically low number of 6 of 6 lineups this week.
If the wind blows like it's expecting and someone like JT gets the worst of it, you could see a carnage type week. And all you can do is try to build some narrative based lineups and see what we can do. Again, if you guys want to help us, hit the like button. We really appreciate it. I'm super pumped to be back. I know Tim is really excited, even if he doesn't show it. Before the show, he was raring to go. I see. There he is. He's back in business. It's good to have the team back together. We have a lot of new things coming. We're going to add a Monday show. We're going to tease that out soon enough. We got a lot of things coming down the pipe. But we really, really do appreciate you guys. Hope to get 6 of 6 through. Started off right. But any final thoughts, Tim, before we bounce on out of here?
Yeah, I mean, this is just a tough week. I mean, we have limited data from guys not playing in a while. I think the wind is just going to introduce a lot of variance this week. You know, the best players are still the best players in windy conditions, but I think it just makes it just a little more variance. You know, I think JT is still the best player regardless of the conditions. But I think the miscut equity for anybody, including him, just goes up. So yeah, it's a tough week to have real strong stances on guys. Tough week to really, just go all in on a guy or anything like that, because we really just don't know. But yeah, I'll probably be leaning on kind of the shorter hitters and definitely bumping up around the green game. And I look at last year's stats for that. Honestly, if he was on tour last year, we have way more measured rounds from that whole season, rather than looking at really kind of limited data from this year. So if I'm looking at a guy's around the green game, I'll go back and look last year, provided that he was on tour last year.
Corn Ferry season. Yeah, we got to go off what we have. And you can lean on the Tournament of Champions from last week. You can lean on the swing season. You could lean on the course history. You can lean, there's a lot of different ways to build. We'll do what we can, and that's all you can really do. We want to keep it, as Dylan says, informative, funny, and spicy. Particularly spicy. That's what we do around these parts. Hope you guys stop back tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern. Me and Jason Roslin breaking it all down. We will be back next week. Another tournament. We'll have a lot to talk about, recapping the Sony Open and getting into the season. Good luck, everyone. Thanks for stopping by, and we will see you guys soon.